Hey, everybody, welcome back to Franchise Friday. And today is going to be a great day on Franchise Friday because I'm going to talk to you about the 4 reasons small businesses stay small and the same 4 reasons people get stuck in a good life when a great life is within their reach. At the end, I'm going to sum it all up with the best thing you will hear all day. And I think it'll be something that you're going to want to think about very carefully. While you are listening, scroll down to the show notes, check out our brands at homefrontbrands.com, and go ahead and peruse the website and see if there's anything that looks like it could be the key to unlocking your future here on the home front. And of course, if you are at an inflection point in your life, or you think you want to be, and if you are willing and courageous enough to force yourself into inflection point thinking, click on the link to get a free copy of my book, Discernment, The Business Athlete's Regimen for a Great Life Through Better Decisions. This will help you put a process in place that gets you on a path to achieving the life you have thought about, that you have dreamed about, and the one that you ultimately deserve. All right, I'm going to give it to you right up front, and they all start with the letter C, 4 things. I've worked with over 800 franchise owners across 8 different brands. I've spoken to thousands more, and there is a trap that owners fall into once they reach their first level of success in their franchise business. And the 4 C's are what keep them there. And they are comfort, competence, commitment, and capital. Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario. 18 months ago, you invested in a franchise. You came through training, you followed the plan, and you worked hard. Now, you're doing $1 million in annual sales. And every month, you make money. You have a strong team. You trust them. They trust you. You're engaged every day, and the business is running smoothly. You play an active role in this business, and it's hiring, business development, sales, handling the responsibilities required to stay on top of your numbers and ensure that there is always more money at the end of the month, not the other way around. However, here's the problem. The average franchisee in your system isn't doing the $1 million you're doing. They're doing $2 million. Now, you know that you have a good life. You're making twice the salary wherever it is you came from as a corporate employee. You have a good lifestyle. You've achieved some work-life balance, and you enjoy the work that you do and the people that you do it with. You're taking some vacations that you were not able to take before, and you're not worried about paying your bills on time. Maybe for the first time in your life. You're taking care of your children's education, and you are proud to be able to do that. So based upon where you came from, you're winning. By every reasonable measure, you're comfortable. And that's the trap, isn't it? Because comfort is what gets people stuck. And I've seen it happen over and over again. Have you ever heard the phrase that if you were not growing, you were dying? Well, there's truth in that statement because nothing stays the same forever. You were fearful when you started. So the relief you have now of having a business that performs and fits into your life is exhilarating. However, this is where human nature creeps in and begins to work against you. We are comfort-seeking beings. Our brains love familiarity. They seek patterns and they seek safety. And when we compare where we are today as independent business owners that people look up to where we were 2 years ago, it becomes very easy to rest on our laurels. So you need to ask yourself whether that is truly why you got into business in the first place. Did you do it to achieve the minimum or to operate at half of your potential or half of what everybody else is doing? And then now that your monthly minimums are met, you simply put the business on cruise control, step back and admire your work while you're listening to people praise you for what you have now accomplished. People stop growing when they become comfortable based on their own definition of comfort. Buying into that narrative is the beginning of the end for the growth of your business. Don't let comfort be the barrier to scale. The second C is competence. We all have capabilities and we leverage our strongest capabilities to become successful. However, none of us have every capability required to grow a business to its full potential. As your business grows, you will begin to see the capabilities that are not naturally present within you. And business owners who are not radically curious will use their lack of capability as an excuse not to pursue the next level of growth. The reality is that building a larger business will expose the capabilities that you don't have, but you desperately need. And if you don't have those capabilities, you have a choice. You can either build them within yourself and gain them, or you can acquire them by bringing in the right people, buying them from a vendor or whatever it is. But now as a business owner, that's the challenge to you, and that's the problem that you're solving. And these capabilities might include sales or sales management or relationship building or operational excellence. Whatever it is, they are all essential to reaching the next level. And if you don't have them, your business is fundamentally broken and will not perform in a way that allows you to grow. And just as you cannot outwork a bad diet, you cannot outscale incompetence, because dysfunction does not scale. You've got to get the capabilities and be competent in all of the things that it's going to take to get you to the next level. And it might be uncomfortable. The third C is commitment. You've heard me say it so many times, or maybe this is the first time, that a lack of focus will always lead to a lack of greatness. Your greatest successes will come from the things that you prioritize. And you should ask yourself every morning, what matters the most? And just as importantly, what are my non-negotiables? You need to determine whether you're prioritizing your health, your fitness, and the most important people in your life, including your family, your friends, and significant others. You also need to determine where your business falls within that priority structure. It is possible to build a good or sufficient business that meets your needs. However, if your business is good, you need to ask yourself, what would it take? Where do my priorities need to change to make it great? What's the commitment going to be? And you must decide what you are willing to remove from your plate or prioritize in order to create the space required for the greatness that you deserve. You must also determine whether you're committed enough to do the things that are uncomfortable, difficult, and potentially perceived as risky. You might be afraid. Everyone has the right to be mediocre, and so do you. And if all else fails, there are systems in place that will support you. The government will feed you. However, you need to decide whether you committed enough to be radically curious about every detail that could move your business from good to great. You must determine whether you're willing to train yourself like an athlete by investing in your health, your fitness, your network, and your capabilities so that you can perform in the top 10% or even the top 5% of operators who are doing what you do. And where you focus your attention and effort will determine your results and your outcomes. So you must invest your time and energy into those areas that contribute the most to your success. If your business is a priority, you've got to remove the activities that do not contribute to its growth. And these activities may include hobbies like things like golf, or things that eat up an inordinate amount of time, or drinking, excessive drinking, or spending time doom scrolling through social media. These are just distractions that have to come off your plate. They don't signal commitment to your business, and they won't provide the incremental gains required to achieve meaningful success, you being the best and building the best business. So being fully committed is something that you must achieve before you acquire everything that you deserve. The fourth C is capital. Capital is the easiest problem to solve when you have a well-run business, and it is the hardest problem to solve when your business is underperforming. Cash is like oxygen. You don't know how bad you need it until you no longer have any. And a growing business will consume cash at a rate that often exceeds expectations. Growing businesses are like growing teenagers. You got to feed them all the time. So as a startup, there are financing options available to you that allow most people to access sufficient capital to fund a franchise business. There are multiple ways to do that. Now, if you can make it for 2 years and you're performing well, there are many additional traditional financing options that become available to businesses that can run and demonstrate responsibility and profitability. However, none of these sources of capital are unlimited. And if you misuse your capital or allocate it to initiatives that do not drive meaningful results, you will limit your ability to grow. For example, investing in unnecessary assets instead of revenue generating activities will reduce your flexibility and restrict your ability to scale. And although capital is one of the first things you need, having too much capital early can also be a problem. Damon John's The Power of Broke. It can create inefficiencies or you can make mistakes with it. So If you are committed and focused on building a great business, capital will eventually become one of the least concerns or challenges that you will face. All right. Those are the 4 C's: comfort, competence, commitment, and capital. And I want to leave you with one final concept, which is personal responsibility. As a business owner, you are responsible for everything that happens within your business. And when something goes wrong or when something urgent or important arises, somebody needs to take action. And that responsibility falls on you. You look down, your shirt says somebody on it. You got the somebody shirt on. There will be times when the business becomes difficult, when it becomes demanding and uncomfortable. However, you must never shift the blame, because doing so is a waste of time and it will not take you where you need to go. Chris Collins, a great friend of mine, discusses the concept of locus of control, which refers to whether your mindset is internally or externally focused. And if you have an external locus of control, you constantly attribute your outcomes to factors that are outside of your control: taxes, tariffs, market conditions, everybody's slow. You need to ask yourself, why would you give away your power to forces that you can't control? And ask yourself, why would you allow external circumstances become your excuses when everybody else is facing the same thing? It may feel good to your ego to say that something is not your fault, but that doesn't matter. That mindset creates permission to avoid doing the work that needs to be done, especially when it's difficult or uncomfortable. I once heard Dr. Ben Carson speaking, and he shared a powerful idea about personal responsibility. And he said, the person who has the most to do with what happens to you is you. If it is to be, it's up to me. You have incredible power. You need to be confident and have the courage to use it every day. And I am sure that you will accomplish great things. Okay, that's it today for Franchise Friday. If you want to learn more about how we operate, visit homefrontbrands.com and explore our wonderful brands that our incredible franchise owners are building across the country. And I can assure you that our franchise owners are scaling something meaningful and moving towards something significant. And if you are interested in improving your decision-making process, again, download a free copy of my book, Discernment, The Business Athlete's Regimen for a Great Life Through Better Decisions. It will help you think more clearly about what you are trying to accomplish and how to make those very important decisions for the next phase of your life. Thanks again for listening. I'm Jeff Dudan, and this has been another episode of Franchise Friday. Talk to you soon.